Hey there, wonderful listener. Welcome to English Bloom, where we nurture that deep, confident command of English, one natural conversation at a time. I'm Alex, and today we're tackling a challenge that even many advanced learners face in quiet moments of frustration. Picture this: you're watching your favorite Netflix series without subtitles, or sitting in an important meeting, and suddenly the words start blurring together. Native speakers are chatting away at full speed, linking sounds, dropping syllables, throwing in idioms, and you catch maybe 60 or 70%. You understand the general idea, but the details, they slip through your fingers like sand. You feel that familiar pang. Why can't I just understand everything effortlessly? I've been there too. Soft chuckle a few years back. During a lively dinner with British and American friends, everyone was laughing at a story, and I was nodding along politely while secretly panicking inside. I caught the punchline late and laughed a beat too slow. It felt awkward, but that moment became a turning point. Because understanding spoken English effortlessly isn't magic, it's a skill you can train layer by layer. If you're a B1 or B2 learner, a professional in meetings, a student following lectures, or simply an enthusiast who wants to enjoy podcasts, films, and real conversations without constant strain, you're in the right place. Stick around. Today, we'll explore how to rewire your ears so that comprehension starts to feel lighter, more automatic, and yes, even effortless over time. So let's start with some real talk. Why does this happen when your grammar and vocabulary are already quite strong? Native speakers don't speak like textbooks. They use connected speech, words blend together, sounds get reduced or dropped, and rhythm takes over. Going to becomes gonna, want to turns into wanna, and entire phrases flow as one smooth stream rather than separate words. On top of that, there are different accents, background noise, fast pace, and cultural references packed in. If you're mostly used to clear, slow classroom English, your brain still tries to catch every single word like individual pearls on a string. But in real life, it's more like a flowing river. Trying to grab every drop exhausts you. That said, here's the encouraging twist. Your brain is incredibly adaptable. What feels overwhelming now can become second nature with the right exposure and techniques. I remember listening to my first unscripted American podcast years ago. It sounded like one long mush of sound. I thought, did I suddenly forget everything I learned? But I kept going, and gradually the river started separating into recognizable currents. Shifting gears to our first powerful strategy, get comfortable with how English actually sounds in the wild. Focus on connected speech features, linking, reductions, and weak forms. For example, what do you think often comes out as would I think, or I have to go becomes I have to go. Here's a practical way to train this. Pick a short audio clip, maybe 1 to 2 minutes from a podcast like this one or a natural conversation. Listen once without the transcript, just for the gist. Then listen again with the transcript. Notice where words disappear or blend. Highlight those spots. Repeat after the speaker. This is called shadowing. Try to mimic not just the words, but the rhythm and the way sounds connect. At first, it might feel unnatural, but that's how you rewire your ear. If you're an advanced learner tuning in right now, notice how I just used the phrasal verb pick up on earlier in my mind, meaning to notice or understand something subtle. These small patterns add up. What if you get frustrated when you miss something? That's normal. Treat it like a puzzle rather than a test. Over weeks, you'll start predicting what comes next because your brain recognizes the patterns. I find this part particularly intriguing because once the sound clicks, everything else becomes so much more enjoyable. Building on that, let's talk content. Even if you hear the sounds clearly, unfamiliar vocabulary or idioms can still trip you up. The solution? Immerse yourself in topics you genuinely enjoy, whether it's technology, sports, business, or storytelling. When you care about the subject, your brain fills in gaps using context and world knowledge. That's top-down listening in action. Expose yourself to a variety of accents deliberately. British, American, Australian, Indian English, each has its own melody. Start with shorter clips and gradually increase the challenge. Don't always slow down the speed. Train your ear at normal or even slightly fast paces. Another gem, learn high-frequency chunks and collocations. Phrases like, on the other hand, it boils down to, catch someone off guard, or get the hang of something. When you know these as units, you don't need to decode every single word. I once listened to a stand-up comedy clip where the comedian said something went over my head. I missed it the first time because I was translating literally the second time. With context, it clicked, meaning the joke was too clever or complex for me to understand immediately. Chuckles. Classic. Try this exercise after listening to a segment, pause and summarize it aloud in your own words. Even if it's imperfect, it forces active processing and reveals what you truly caught. Here's where it gets playful. Move from passive hearing to active listening. Before you press play, predict what might be said based on the title or your background knowledge. While listening, take quick mental or written notes on main ideas, not every detail. Ask yourself questions. What's the speaker's opinion? What might come next? Use the dictation light method, listen to a sentence, pause and write what you heard. Then check. This sharpens your decoding skills without overwhelming you. Another big picture idea, stop translating everything in your head. That extra mental step slows you down dramatically. Instead, connect sounds directly to meaning and images. It takes practice, but it's liberating. What if you still miss chunks? Embrace it. Real comprehension often comes from understanding 70 to 80% and inferring the rest. Native speakers do this too when accents or noise interfere. I tried an experiment last month. I listened to a fast-paced debate podcast every morning during my commute for 2 weeks straight. By the end, conversations that once felt like a blur started revealing their layers. The effort was paying off in the most satisfying way. Finally, let's think long-term. Consistency beats intensity. Create a daily listening habit that feels enjoyable rather than like homework. 10 to 20 focused minutes every day will transform your skills faster than occasional marathon sessions. Vary your sources, podcasts, YouTube videos, TED Talks, movies without subtitles, start with familiar ones, radio interviews, even songs with lyrics to follow, combine listening with output. After a clip, record yourself retelling what you understood. Compare and notice improvements. This also boosts your speaking fluency, a nice bonus. And remember the vulnerability part. It's okay to feel lost sometimes. Every advanced learner I know has those "I thought I was better than this" moments. They're signals you're pushing your boundaries. All right, let's wrap this up with some clear, actionable takeaways you can start applying today. Train your ear on connected speech through shadowing and transcripts. Get used to linking and reductions. Immerse in varied accents and real speed materials on topics you love. Practice active listening. Predict, summarize, and focus on chunks rather than isolated words. Reduce mental translation. Connect sound directly to meaning. Stay consistent with short, enjoyable daily sessions and be patient with yourself. Quick language spotlight for our B1, B2 friends. We used trip you up, cause difficulty, get the hang of, become skilled at, boils down to, essentially means, and goes over my head, too difficult to understand. Notice the natural flow of discourse markers like building on that and that said. Now, here's your challenge this week. Choose one short podcast or video episode you enjoy. Listen to it 3 times, once for gist, once with transcript focusing on connected speech, and once while shadowing a favorite section. Then tell me or a friend in English what surprised you most. If this episode resonated, please subscribe so English Bloom can keep growing with you. Share your own listening breakthrough stories, they inspire all of us, and pass the episode to a fellow learner who might need this encouragement. You're already further along than you realize. With curiosity and steady practice, that effortless understanding is closer than it feels right now. Thanks for blooming with me today. This is Alex, signing off with warmth and optimism. Keep listening, keep growing, and take good care. Until next time, happy understanding.